Have you ever wondered how small, consistent changes in your daily habits can significantly transform your life? Picture this. A person decides to wake up just 15 minutes earlier than usual. Not a huge shift, right? But they use this extra quarter of an hour each day to read. Over a year, these additional minutes accumulate into hours and days of reading, enabling them to finish dozens of books. This seemingly minuscule change in their daily routine has now expanded their knowledge, improved their vocabulary, and perhaps even sparked new ideas or interests. This is the power of what James Clear, in his best-selling self-help book, calls Atomic Habits. These are not grand, sweeping changes, but rather small, consistent alterations in our daily routines. They may seem insignificant at first, but when practiced consistently, their impact is profound. So, as you can see, even tiny improvements, when accumulated over time, can lead to significant transformation. How does one form habits? James Clear breaks this down into 4 key steps. First, it's about making the habit obvious. Think about it this way. If you want to drink more water, you might place a water bottle on your desk. It's there, clear as day, reminding you to hydrate. The visibility makes the habit more likely to stick. It's hard to forget about that water bottle when it's right there in front of you. Next, we make the habit attractive. This means pairing the habit with something you enjoy or find rewarding. For instance, imagine you want to exercise more. You decide to listen to your favorite podcast while you work out. Suddenly, the prospect of exercising is much more appealing because it's intertwined with something you already enjoy. You're not just working out, you're catching up on your favorite show. Thirdly, we aim to make the habit easy. This is about starting small and not overwhelming yourself. Let's say you want to start meditating. Instead of aiming for an hour a day, why not start with just 5 minutes? It's a small, manageable goal, and it's much easier to stick to. Over time, as this becomes a routine, you can gradually increase the duration. Finally, the habit needs to be satisfying. This is where reward comes into play. Let's go back to the exercise example. After a good workout, you might reward yourself with a healthy treat, like a smoothie. This creates a positive association with the habit, making it more satisfying and something to look forward to. In essence, the 4 steps to habit formation are about making the habit obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Each step is crucial, and together they form a powerful framework for habit formation. But remember, at the heart of this is a change in identity. The habits you cultivate should align with the person you want to become. The small, consistent changes you make over time shape your identity. Remember, to change your habits, you need to change how you see yourself. Did you know your surroundings and motivation play a critical role in shaping your habits? Our environment, often overlooked, is a silent enabler or disruptor of our habits. Picture this. There's a man, let's call him John. John loves music and has always wanted to practice guitar regularly. But his guitar was always tucked away in a closet, out of sight, out of mind. One day, he decided to place his guitar in his living room, a place he frequented, and voila! His practice sessions increased significantly. Why? Because the guitar was now obvious, easy to reach, and his environment was optimized for his desired habit. This is a classic example of how our surroundings can be designed to make good habits the default choice. On the other hand, motivation, often seen as the driving force behind actions, is not as reliable as we'd like to think. Let's consider another scenario. There's a woman, let's call her Sarah. Sarah didn't start running because she wanted to lose weight, but because she loved the feeling of the wind in her hair, the rush of endorphins, and that runner's high. She was motivated by the process, not the outcome. And here's the interesting part. Even on days when Sarah didn't feel like running, her love for the process got her out of the door. This shows that motivation can be fickle and fluctuate from day to day. However, when we enjoy the process, we're more likely to stick with our habits, even when motivation wanes. So, what can we learn from John and Sarah? They teach us 2 important lessons. Firstly, that our environment if designed mindfully, can nudge us towards better habits. And secondly, that motivation is not about wanting to achieve an outcome, but rather, it's about enjoying the process. In conclusion, don't wait for motivation to strike or rely on it to maintain a habit. Instead, design your environment to make good habits the default choice and focus on enjoying the process rather than the outcome. Breaking bad habits and maintaining good ones can be a challenge, but with the right strategies, it's definitely achievable. Let's dive into some of these strategies. One such strategy is the Goldilocks rule. This principle suggests finding the right level of challenge for your habits to keep them engaging. Imagine a runner who, instead of pushing herself to exhaustion every day, chooses a pace that's neither too easy nor too hard, but just right. This approach keeps her engaged without causing burnout, helping her maintain the habit of daily running. Then there's the strategy of pre-commitment, where you make choices in advance to limit future temptations. Consider a person who wants to quit smoking. Instead of buying a pack of cigarettes, he decides to buy them one at a time. This makes smoking less convenient, and over time his craving for cigarettes diminishes. Another strategy is temptation bundling, which involves pairing a desirable activity with a less enticing one. Let's say there's a student who loves listening to audiobooks, but finds cleaning his room a chore. By listening to the audiobook while cleaning, he makes the less enticing task more enjoyable, thereby creating a habit out of an otherwise mundane task. But remember, these strategies are not one size fits all. What works for one person may not work for another. It's important to experiment and find what works best for you. It's also crucial to maintain a growth mindset and be flexible in adapting your habits over time. Life isn't static, and neither are your habits. Lastly, let's not forget the power of our environment in shaping our habits. By designing your environment to minimize resistance, you can make good habits the default choice. This could be as simple as placing a water bottle on your desk to encourage drinking more water, or keeping your phone out of your bedroom to avoid scrolling through social media before bed. Remember, it's not about perfecting a habit overnight. It's about the compounding effect of small, consistent changes. Just as atomic particles come together to form a larger whole, atomic habits can lead to remarkable personal growth. Imagine this. A person decides to write 100 words every day. It doesn't seem like much, does it? Just a small paragraph or so. But with each passing day, those 100 words pile up, and after a year, they've written a novel. That's the power of atomic habits. This is the compounding effect, where small, seemingly inconsequential actions, when repeated over time, can lead to significant outcomes. It's not about instant gratification or drastic transformations. It's about the slow, steady, and often unnoticeable progress that accumulates over time, like interest in a savings account. So, start focusing on identity-based goals and shape your self-image around the habits you want to cultivate. Because remember, even the tiniest changes can lead to a remarkable